The little boy was standing alone in the middle of a rain-soaked crosswalk, clutching a worn stuffed rabbit with trembling hands while speeding cars swerved around him. Across the street, black SUVs suddenly appeared one after another, their tires spraying water in every direction as dozens of desperate men searched for someone they feared they had already lost forever. No one on that busy street realized that the frightened child belonged to the most feared mafia boss in the country, or that the ordinary woman about to rescue him would unknowingly change every one of their lives. Before we begin this emotional journey, if you believe that kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances can change even the hardest hearts, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our family and our community. Claire Dawson had never considered herself extraordinary. At 28, she worked long hours at a neighborhood bakery, living paycheck to paycheck while caring for her elderly grandmother. Life had taught her that the world could be unfair, but it had also taught her that compassion cost nothing. That rainy afternoon, she was walking home beneath a small umbrella when she noticed a tiny boy standing completely alone in the pouring rain. His jacket was soaked, his shoes were covered in muddy water, and tears streamed down his pale face as he searched desperately through the crowd for someone who never came. Without stopping to wonder whether she would be late or whether helping might bring trouble, Claire rushed into the street, gently lifted the frightened child into her arms, and carried him safely to the sidewalk. She wrapped her own coat around his shoulders, dried his face with a handkerchief, and offered him the warm cinnamon roll she had planned to eat for lunch. The little boy slowly stopped crying. Although he barely spoke, he held tightly to Claire's hand as if he had finally found someone he could trust. She noticed a small silver bracelet on his wrist engraved with the name Rowan, but there was no phone number or address. Claire contacted the local authorities and waited patiently beneath the shelter of a bus stop while trying to comfort Rowan. Minutes later, the peaceful afternoon transformed into chaos. A convoy of luxury black vehicles surrounded the street. Men wearing expensive suits stepped out, scanning every face with urgent determination. Pedestrians quickly moved away, sensing an invisible danger hanging in the air. Claire instinctively pulled Rowan a little closer, believing these strangers might frighten him even more. Then something unexpected happened. Rowan's frightened eyes suddenly filled with relief. He pointed toward the tallest man emerging from the center vehicle. The man carried himself with quiet authority, his tailored coat soaked by the rain while everyone around him watched for his slightest movement. His expression remained cold and unreadable until his eyes landed on the little boy wrapped inside Claire's coat. In that single heartbeat, the feared figure who had terrified countless enemies became nothing more than a desperate father whose greatest fear had almost come true. His name was Victor Langford, a man whispered about throughout the city with equal parts fear and mystery. Newspapers described him as untouchable. Rivals feared him. Law enforcement watched him constantly. Yet none of those stories prepared Claire for the overwhelming emotion that crossed his face as he rushed toward his son without caring who witnessed his vulnerability. Victor knelt before Rowan, holding him tightly as tears mixed with the rain on his face. The men surrounding him quietly lowered their heads, seeing a side of their leader almost none of them had ever witnessed. Rowan pointed repeatedly toward Claire, making it clear that she had protected him when no one else had. Victor slowly stood and thanked Claire with genuine sincerity, offering her a reward larger than she had earned in several years. Claire politely refused. She explained that no child should ever be left alone in danger and that she had simply done what any decent person should do. Those words struck Victor harder than any threat ever had. For years, he had believed everything in life could be bought with money, power, or fear. Yet the woman standing before him had risked her own safety without expecting anything in return. Before leaving, Victor quietly handed Claire a business card and told her that if she or her grandmother ever needed help, she only had to call. Claire slipped the card into a drawer at home and forgot about it. Weeks passed peacefully until tragedy arrived without warning. Her grandmother collapsed from a serious heart condition, and the hospital demanded expensive treatment Claire could never afford. She worked double shifts, sold treasured belongings, and borrowed money wherever she could, but it still wasn't enough. Late one afternoon, while searching desperately through old papers, she discovered Victor's untouched business card. Calling him felt impossible, yet desperation overcame pride. She expected rejection or indifference. Instead, within hours, the hospital informed her that every medical expense had been paid anonymously. Claire already knew who had done it. When she visited Victor to thank him, she saw something completely different from the terrifying reputation surrounding him. Rowan laughed while feeding ducks in a bright city park under the afternoon sun. Victor watched quietly from a nearby bench, smiling in a way that almost erased the frightening image the world knew. Claire realized that even deeply flawed people could still love fiercely. Victor confessed that losing Rowan, even for a few terrifying minutes, had forced him to confront the life he had built. His enemies had nearly kidnapped the boy to settle old scores. Claire's kindness had not only saved Rowan but had also shown Victor the person he once dreamed of becoming before violence consumed his life. For the first time in years, he questioned whether fear truly protected the people he loved or only placed them in greater danger. Over the following months, Victor slowly dismantled the criminal empire that had made him powerful. The process was painful and dangerous. Former allies turned against him, fortunes disappeared, and trusted friends betrayed him. Yet every difficult decision became easier whenever he remembered Claire standing in the rain, expecting nothing in return for saving his child. Claire never became part of Victor's dangerous world. Instead, she inspired him from a distance simply by remaining true to her values. She continued working honestly, caring for her grandmother, and reminding everyone around her that kindness required courage far greater than cruelty. One sunny afternoon nearly a year later, Victor opened a community center dedicated to protecting vulnerable children and supporting struggling families. The building stood on the very street where Rowan had once been found alone in the rain. Instead of symbols of fear, the entrance displayed colorful artwork created by local children. Instead of armed guards, volunteers welcomed families with warm smiles. Claire attended the opening quietly, overwhelmed by the realization that one small act of compassion had created a ripple that transformed countless lives. Victor publicly admitted that power without humanity was meaningless. He never asked people to forget his mistakes because some wounds could never fully disappear. Instead, he chose to spend the rest of his life creating more hope than fear, believing redemption was earned through actions rather than words. Rowan grew into a cheerful boy surrounded not by bodyguards but by genuine friendships, finally experiencing the peaceful childhood every child deserved. Before this story comes to an end, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment and tell us whether you believe one act of kindness can truly change even the hardest heart, or share a moment when compassion transformed someone's life. Claire eventually realized that she had never rescued only a lost child that rainy afternoon. She had unknowingly rescued a father from becoming a prisoner of his own darkness and given an entire community a future built on hope instead of fear. The greatest miracles are rarely loud or dramatic. Sometimes they begin with nothing more than one ordinary person choosing kindness when everyone else walks away. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May we always remember that even the smallest act of compassion can echo through countless lives and that hope often arrives disguised as an ordinary decision to help someone in need.